What's going on, everybody? It's Justin Jackson here again. I hope everybody's having an unbelievable week. We finally had our first live game against a team that's not wearing Carolina blue, and I'm sure everybody was super excited to watch it. Um, you had some unbelievable performances by Seth, obviously, and Jalen Washington, and Elliott was, playmaking for the team the entire game. But I think the biggest thing that was super encouraging, and I'm looking forward to watching as this season continues to go, is kind of the new look offense that UNC has this year. I think, at least for this year, gone are the days of post up, give the ball down low, like we've seen in the last 4 years, 5 years with Mondo, and even back whenever I was playing. I think now the new look offense that they have of high ball screens, pick and rolls, bigs kind of playing out of the pocket, and guards getting downhill for the paint touches, I think is kind of what we're going to see now. Obviously, you saw it a lot with Elliott. You saw it a ton with Seth. A lot of Seth's scoring was kind of through the open offense concept that they have now, whether it's high ball screens or dribble drive. And I think that's kind of what we're going to see kind of throughout this season. I think we're going to see a lot of um, dribble drive actions getting to the paint to get paint touches and getting pressure on the rim. I think that was kind of obvious throughout this last game, and I think that's kind of how this season's going to go. But then also within that, new look offense is kind of the shooting. Obviously, Kate Tyson didn't shoot the ball the way that he, I think is very capable of doing. But just by having a shooter out there on the floor opens up so much more for those driving lanes to be there. I think at times in the past that's kind of been a struggle as far as spacing goes. And mind you, all of this is without RJ, the best player arguably in the country, and obviously the go-to guy on this UNC team. So having that ability to have the spacing and having that spacing to allow drives, to allow the bigs to play out of the pocket and kind of play out of that type of action, I think is going to be huge for this team. And I think you kind of saw a glimpse of it kind of in this. Once again, it's way early. I know everybody is super excited of, kind of just being able to see a game on ESPN and having an announcer and, going against a different team, having an opposing coach. I know that that's always fun for fans. I will never forget back whenever it was my freshman year. And we went to the Bahamas and everybody was so hyped, playing different games and things like that. And obviously as a freshman, you're kind of looking at everything. Everything's kind of, seems important, doesn't seem important. And, the very first game that I played in, I didn't start. Obviously, I played a good amount, but didn't start. And after that game, I was, so worried. Am I starting? Am I not going to start? What is this going to do? So I think obviously it's very early. These type of games are really more of just a tune-up practice, glorified practice once again, just against a different team. So I think it's too early to necessarily, say, oh man, Seth should average this, after that kind of game, or Jalen Washington should do this for this team throughout the season. It's still very early, but I love the way that this new look UNC offense is looking, and kind of the direction that it's going in. I think it's one of those things where they didn't, necessarily shoot the ball very well. They didn't, you know, get a ton from the outside necessarily, but the one thing that was evident was no more ball into the post, let them go to work. You just saw a lot of get out in transition and get downhill, put pressure on the rim that way, or play out of a pick and roll and either drop off to the big or the guard gets to the paint, and now everybody else is kind of at your mercy. Or if you get to the paint, now you can kick it out to some of the shooters, whether it's Cade or Drake as a freshman coming in, or Ian, or even a guy like Seth, who obviously shows that the work that he put in throughout this summer. That now he's a legit knockdown shooter. So I'm super excited to watch as this season goes on. But just off of this one glimpse in this one game, I think it was super encouraging, and I think it's going to be really exciting to watch this team and this new look offense.